Hi guys, today we're going to cook pancit. It's Filipino noodle dish, and every time you talk about Filipino food, you always say, you ask someone about what Filipino food is, and they'll always say lumpia, pancit, and adobo. So today we're going to cook pancit because I have this big wok, and this is direct from the Philippines, a gift by my brother-in-law when he went home to the Philippines. So we're going to cook pancit today. There's different kinds of pancit. This will be a little bit of a variation because I have different kinds of pancit with me, and I'm going to explain the types of pancit that we're going to use for today's dish. Okay, so let's go ahead and start cooking with our Filipino style noodle dish, which is called pancit. What we have here are different types of pancit noodles. There's this pancit habhab, pancit canton. These two are basically wheat flour noodles, and then we have the rice sticks, which are called bihon. These are the most common ones that we normally see when we go to Filipino parties, and this is what they would usually serve. There's also another type of bihon right now because of the trend in moringa, the powered food, which is malunggay, that we call in the Philippines. And this is basically the same. They just infused it with powdered moringa leaves, so you have this green color on the noodles, but they're basically the same. So if you go to an Asian or Filipino market, start looking for bihon, the words bihon, canton, or habhab. But these are basically wheat flour noodles. They're pretty much the same. You could cook them the same way. This, for bihon, it's also going to be the same way together with this one. But the essentials really is that when you cook noodles, it's all the same. The main foundation is that the noodles will be the blank sheet where you put in all of the flavors, and all in the pancit, it's all based on flavors that you put in. It could be pork, shrimp, the vegetables, carrots, beans, cabbage, garlic, and onions, and all of that stuff that all blends together to make that pancit. The base aromatics for pancit will be chopped onions and minced garlic. For the vegetables, you're going to use string beans that are julienne carrots, and also for this particular pancit that I'm making, I'm adding in chayote since I have it available with me. But normally you wouldn't see this. I'm just adding it in because I do have it. It adds a different texture and flavor to the pancit as well. And we also have sliced or julienne cabbage. So we'll have beans, carrots, and cabbage will be the traditional or basic ingredient for pancit. The proteins used in pancit is pork and shrimp. You could also use chicken, but for this particular case, I do have a leftover Kahlua pork that I'm going to use instead of normally like cubed or sliced pork. You could also use shrimp to add into your pancit, but if it's not available, it's still okay. You could also use them individually with or without the other. Now, if you don't like pork or you don't like shrimp, you could also use chicken for your protein for the pancit. So it's very flexible. Pancit is very flexible. You could use whatever protein you want. I think tofu might probably even work. It's just a matter of frying that tofu really nicely so you have that crispiness and the texture of tofu. Pour some oil. Put your aromatics. Pour in your shrimp. you could also put in your sliced pork, but since I already have a pre-cooked pork, I'm going to add that in later on. Add in the pork. But this is pre-cooked pork, it's Kahlua pork. They should have gone in earlier, but since it's pre-cooked, I'm just adding it in a little bit later. Put in a little bit of oyster sauce just for added flavor. Splash of soy sauce. Then add in your vegetables. See the beautiful color right there. Orange, greens, browns. Look at that, that's beautiful, isn't it? This is where you extract all of the flavors that you want. Salty, sweet. We just cook it, a quick saute right here, and then we're going to put some water. If you have pork broth or vegetable broth, that's a good liquid to use to soften up the vegetables. I'm using around 4 cups of water, or I'll add a little bit more, like an extra cup. When it starts to boil, or it's already boiling, you could actually take out all of the vegetables and the meat in it and the shrimp. We set that aside. We set aside the garnishing. Now that we've gotten most of the vegetables, it's time to put in the noodles, the pancit. Don't worry about the liquid right there because the noodles will absorb all of it. So all you need to do is just mix it in with the broth right there. You see that the broth is being absorbed. Just keep on stirring the noodles in the broth. As you'll see, the noodles have started to absorb the broth. So this will cook the noodles. So just keep on mixing it up like that until you see that the broth has been absorbed. But if it gets to still to be very hard, the noodles are very hard, you could add a little bit more water. You know when the noodles are cooked, when you hold onto the noodles and you don't hear a snap anymore, it's just going to be like a soft pull and it just breaks apart. So cooked, almost cooked, so I could actually add in my vegetables and all, and the proteins. So you just mixed it in. Of course, this is my version of this particular type of pancit. You could also add in some pepper. I like to put some kick into it. And there you have it. Pancit hap-hap my way. So here we have the pancit hap-hap my version. Let me get a closer look. I'll give you a closer look on what it is. We have the shrimp right there. The shredded Kahlua pork is in there as well. And then we have the noodles. So in preparation for before you could eat this, you could also have some Filipino lime. If you don't have the calamansi, just use the regular lemons or limes. They'll work fine. you could also use some people like to use vinegar for their pancit, but for this one I think it might need a little salt. I didn't put a lot of soy sauce today, so you could put fish sauce. And what we do in the Philippines is fish sauce, and we squeeze on some Filipino lime, the calamansi right here. It gives, and then you just put it into your pancit, and it just will taste much better. Also, today I got to be so lucky because the person that started it all is here with me today, and that's my daughter Katrina. So I'll call her in. So this is my daughter Katrina. She's the one that inspired me to do this. It all started with her asking me to make a cookbook of recipes that I make, and I decided instead to do a video because it was harder to write. I could write, but it takes a lot of time, and I figured just to take a video it will be much easier, only to find out that running a video is much more harder than writing. So I think she likes my pancit. That's why I did this today, and I want her to give a taste on it. I give her honest opinion. I know she'll give her honest opinion. So if it doesn't taste good, she will tell me. So here you go, honey. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay. So I'd like you to try. I didn't put any patis yet or fish sauce, so you could add some if you want to. Okay. Have some taste. Well, let me get a fork. I want to try. So this is easy to cook. Needs a little salt, huh? So let's put some fish sauce. Fish sauce is like the secret weapon for Asians. So let's see if it's going to change it as well. I think it will, for sure. Some people also like to use vinegar just to cut through the fat or the oils and all. So you could do that also. So let's see if it's changed. Oh yeah, it just stinks. Fish sauce really stinks, so it's an acquired taste. So if you don't like it, you can use soy sauce as well. Okay. So this is my daughter Katrina. She's the one that inspired me to do this thing. So probably I should just thank her for this. Without her, this wouldn't have happened. All right. So thanks guys, I hope you'll be able to follow this kind of recipe, but when you make your pancit is going to be your own. You'll never outcook your mom or someone else's mom when making pancit. It will always be mom's recipe, will always be the best. And so I just urge you to just make your pancit and make it your own, and just do whatever you can do to make it taste better. Alright, thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.